My plane touched down on the wet tarmac of Ninoy Aquino International Airport on a humid Tuesday evening in October, and my life changed forever. I am Marcus, a 35-year-old former financial analyst from the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts. Back in New England, my existence had become a monotonous, gray loop of train commutes, spreadsheet deadlines, and freezing winters. I felt like a ghost walking through my own life. Seeking a radical break from the corporate grind, I booked what was meant to be a simple 3-week vacation to Southeast Asia. A college buddy had insisted that the Philippines possessed an undeniable magic. I was highly skeptical, but desperately needed an escape. I never could have predicted that this vast, sprawling archipelago of over 7,000 islands would completely heal my soul and become my true home. The moment those automatic airport doors slid open in Manila, the tropical air hit me like a heavy, warm blanket. It was thick with the rich scents of roasting meats, diesel fuel, and damp earth. Manila was a magnificent, chaotic assault on my senses. The traffic was a living, breathing entity that defied all laws of Western physics. Jeepneys, decorated in spectacular neon patterns with chrome ornaments welded to their hoods, roared down the congested avenues. Drivers navigated impossibly tight spaces with total confidence. Tricycles buzzed like hornets along the narrow shoulders. Initially, I was terrified. In Boston, driving was an aggressive, angry sport governed by rigid lanes and furious honking. Here, the honks were a polite, conversational code. They meant, "I am right beside you," or "Please let me merge, brother." My first morning in the capital city, I stepped out of my boutique hotel in Makati to look for a local breakfast. I bypassed the Western cafes and wandered down a quiet side street, guided by a wonderful, smoky aroma. I stumbled upon a small carinderia, a traditional neighborhood food stall. A middle-aged woman with incredibly kind eyes and a welcoming smile greeted me immediately. Her name was Aling Rosa. Noticing my obvious confusion, she patiently explained every single dish in flawless, expressive English. I pointed to a rich, dark stew that smelled savory and garlicky. She served me a massive plate of garlic fried rice, known locally as sinangag, topped with sweet cured pork called tocino and a perfectly fried egg. She called it tosalog. I took my very first bite, and my taste buds instantly erupted. The incredible balance of sweet, salty, and garlic richness was completely unlike anything I had tasted in America. Aling Rosa watched me eat, her joyful smile widening as she saw my genuine amazement. "Welcome to the Philippines, sir," she said warmly. That tiny, heartfelt interaction set the beautiful tone for my entire adventure. Seeking an escape from the concrete jungle of the metropolis, I boarded a bus heading north into the mountain province of Benguet. The journey was an arduous 12-hour ride through steep, winding roads that hugged the edges of massive cliffs. I sat directly next to an elderly local farmer named Mang Tomas, who was traveling with a wicker basket filled with fresh mountain vegetables. Instead of ignoring the quiet foreigner, Mang Tomas immediately offered to share his boiled sweet potatoes with me. He spent hours sharing captivating stories about his youth in the Cordillera Mountains, explaining the deep history of the ancient hanging coffins and the majestic, mist-covered rice terraces. By the time the bus arrived in the high-altitude town of Sagada, the oppressive heat of the lowlands had been completely replaced by a crisp, pine-scented chill. Sagada felt like a fairy tale hidden away from the modern world. I woke up at 4 in the morning to hike to the top of Kiltapan Peak. As the sun slowly broke over the horizon, a literal sea of white clouds rolled beautifully over the deep green valleys below. The sharp peaks of the mountains pierced through the dense fog like isolated islands in an ocean of pure white milk. The early morning sunlight turned the entire mist formation into a brilliant, shimmering gold. Standing there on the mountain ridge, shivering slightly in the cool air, surrounded by quiet locals sipping hot ginger tea, I felt a profound sense of inner peace that had eluded me for decades in America. I realized then that this country was not just a scenic tourist destination. It was a spiritual sanctuary. From the northern highlands, I caught a domestic flight south to the island province of Palawan, making my way to the coastal paradise of El Nido. If Sagada was a mountain haven, El Nido was a visual masterpiece sculpted by nature. I boarded a traditional wooden outrigger boat, called a banca, for a full-day tour of the Bacuit archipelago. The boat sliced effortlessly through water so impossibly clear that I could easily track the shadows of coral reefs and massive sea turtles 20 feet below the surface. Giant limestone cliffs rose vertically out of the turquoise sea, looking like ancient, weathered fortresses protecting hidden secrets. Our boat captain, a charismatic young local named June, guided us to a hidden lagoon. To enter it, I had to swim through a tiny, narrow opening in a massive rock face. On the very other side lay a perfectly circular pool of calm, jade-green water, completely enclosed by towering black limestone walls. The only sound was the gentle dripping of water from the cliffs and the distant calls of tropical birds. Filipinos possess an unmatched, resilient capacity for pure joy. They face severe typhoons, economic hardships, and daily struggles, yet their default state of being is laughter, warmth, and hospitality. In America, we had every modern luxury imaginable, but often lacked time, peace, and contentment. My daily routine shifted into a beautiful, relaxed rhythm. I began my mornings with a refreshing jog along the boulevard as the rising sun cast a soft, pink glow over the Mindanao Sea. Afterward, I would stop by a small neighborhood bakery to buy hot pandesal, small, fluffy bread rolls that cost. I was miles away from the main town, and dark, heavy rain clouds were gathering quickly overhead. I pushed the heavy scooter to the side of the gravel road, feeling completely helpless and stranded. Within minutes, a young local man on a small motorbike pulled over next to me. He didn't speak much English, but he instantly saw my flat tire and gestured for me to wait under a nearby awning. He rode away quickly and returned 10 minutes later with his cousin, who brought a full set of rusty wrenches and a brand new inner tube. They worked together diligently under the wide shade of a massive mango tree, laughing, joking, and smiling with each other while fixing my broken bike. When they finally finished the repair, I pulled out my wallet to pay them for their valuable time and the spare parts. They flatly and politely refused the money. The cousin smiled, patted my shoulder warmly, and said in broken English, "No money, friend. Welcome to our place." They simply waved goodbye, started their bike, and rode off into the distance. I stood there alone on the roadside as the rain began to fall, completely stunned by the selfless, unconditional kindness of absolute strangers. Their eyes would instantly light up with joy, followed by a loud, booming laugh and a friendly, welcoming slap on my back that I gradually realized that my deep love for the Philippines wasn't just about the postcard-perfect white sand beaches of Boracay, the symmetrical beauty of Mayon Volcano, or the unique chocolate hills of Bohol. It was fundamentally about the beautiful, comforting rhythm of daily life. It was the heartwarming sight of young children playing traditional games like tumbang preso or patintero in the dusty neighborhood streets, their pure laughter filling the warm evening air. It was the absolute, beautiful respect shown to elders through the mano pa gesture, where the youth gently placed the forehead against the back of an elder's hand to receive a blessing. Living here taught me the invaluable lesson of slowing down. In the United States, I was constantly chasing an elusive future, always planning the next financial milestone, corporate promotion, or material purchase. In the Philippines, I finally learned the beautiful art of being completely present in the moment. The warmth of the tropical climate seemed to gently melt away the cold, rigid, defensive structures I had spent a lifetime building around my heart back home. I learned to appreciate the simple luxury of a heavy afternoon rain shower, watching the water cascade off the bright green palm leaves while sharing a plate of sweet fried bananas, called Maria, with my neighbors. Now, it has been 4 wonderful years since I stepped off that fateful plane in Manila. I no longer feel like a curious tourist exploring a foreign land. I feel like a son who has finally returned to the exact place where he belonged all along. My skin is permanently bronzed by the beautiful tropical sun. My kitchen pantry is always fully stocked with local soy sauce, vinegar, and fresh calamansi citrus, and my heart is completely at peace. Whenever my old friends back in America ask me via video calls why I chose to leave everything behind to stay in the Philippines, I always tell them the same thing. America gave me my formal education and my career, but the Philippines gave me back my humanity. It showed me with absolute clarity that life is not measured by the wealth you accumulate or the status you achieve, but by the deep connections you forge, the laughter you share, and the unconditional kindness